I think that's something that a lot of people want to talk about, and that is that the judiciary has come in and basically put a halt to the executive order regarding the immigration. How did the judiciary get the power to make that decision? And can you explain that a little bit more?
First, let's start with the power of the president. In this case, the president, there is a statute that gives the president the authority to restrict the entry of foreign nationals into the United States if, in his opinion, it is not in the interest of the country to allow them in. And so he has direct congressional authority, which he was exercising in this case. But every order of the president, no matter what the source, cannot violate the Constitution. And in this case, the argument was that it violated the Constitution, and the court in, well, the Ninth Circuit on appeal from the district judge in Seattle, who had stayed the order, agreed, not that they hadn't decided it ultimately, but they said preliminarily it looks like there's a good chance of success and there would be irreparable harm if we didn't stay this order. And the arguments were that the president in doing this violated due process and that the president's order violated the Establishment Clause of the Constitution by singling out Muslims as those who would not be admitted to the country. Now,
the Establishment Clause bill basically is the clause that establishes the separation between church and state, that the government cannot prefer any one religion over the other. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. And the argument was by restricting it to Muslims, that would be a violation. Of course, there's a factual question about whether that's what the president did, but that, you know.
Right, because the president was basically saying this is not about, his position was this wasn't against Muslims or the Muslim religion in general, because it was banning an entire country from coming in. Is that right?
That's right.
Or 7 entire countries,
right.
actually.
Those countries are very heavily Muslim, and there was an exclusion for minorities in those countries, which presumably would often be non-Muslim, and we had off-the-record statements, if you will, or things that weren't part of the order, where it looked like this may be a way of doing that, and so the court said, well, we're convinced enough to think that we want to have a trial on this and let it go forward and stay the order until we determine that that wasn't the motivation and the reason for the order.